Hello, welcome to another Becoming Up Modern Man. We are playing Hogaak Vine once again, this time post-ban, which seems to have become, well, the Mythic Championship is on at the moment, and it's like over 20% of the field, so seems like it's still pretty good. So we're going to run it out here, or give it a go with the deck and see how we get on. So this is our opening hand. It's a little bit janky. I suppose we can Faithless Looting the Golgari Thug away, at the very least. See how we get on. Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on this hand. I mean, I suppose we've got 2 dredge cards and a Faithless Looting, so it can't be all that bad. But we'll see what our opponent is running with. So, Sacred Foundry tapped doesn't tell us a lot. I mean, it seems unlikely that it's burn, which would be the usual colours I would expect from that combination. Gemstone Mine's slightly awkward here, but I think we just need to Faithless Looting on turn 1 and go from there. So, I think that's what we will do. See how we get on with this. Hogaak is nice, Stitch of Supply is nice. I think we're just going to drop the dredge cards into the graveyard. I think that makes the most sense. Looking to dredge back Golgari Thug. Next turn. And then we might be able to get Hogaak into play. So we can Stitch of Supply a Gravecrawler after a Golgari Dredge, so yeah, we can definitely get Hogaak into play next turn, provided nothing crazy happens. Not really sure what our opponent is on. Certainly Sacred Foundry tapped is an unusual opening play in Modern by any measure. Not sure what they're thinking about either. They might have Surgical, I suppose. I don't think what they could be. I suppose they could be Mono Red Phoenix or something. Seems like a brew though. So far. Mask of Immolation. Okay, this is definitely not a deck I am familiar with. So I really don't know what they're doing. I suppose they could be some sort of Cheerios deck, maybe. But it certainly seems bizarre so far. Yeah, so I suppose we could get Dark Blast back to kill off this elemental, but I don't think that's terribly important. I don't know what their deck is doing though. I guess they could be some sort of polymorph deck, but then why would you run on Mox Opal in that deck? Seems really weird. I'm just going to get Golgari Thug back for the maximum dredge. And we put Vengevine into the graveyard, so that's good. Overgrown Tomb. Stitch's Supplier. I assume our opponent's not going to have a Ravenous Trap or anything, but obviously that would be problematic if they did. So we actually play Gravecrawler from graveyard, which is probably better. So let's play this Gravecrawler out of the graveyard, get back Vengevine. Cast Hogaak. Have to get rid of. Oh, opponent's conceded, so that makes that easier. Yeah, our opponent's deck seems very strange. I guess I'll bring in Shenanigans, given that they appear to have some sort of artifact theme, or some sort of very vague artifact theme. I don't know if there's anything else worth cutting or bringing in, given that we don't know what they're up to. It seems like this could be easy win for us. I don't know. Yeah, really difficult to say what's going on. So yeah, let's cut out the claim to fame. I'm not entirely confident with this card. I don't think it's strictly necessary. It was something that Canister was testing out. But I'm not sure it's going to be a mainstay for the deck. I suppose Lightning Axe might be not great as well, actually. Not really sure how many creatures they're running. So maybe Claim to Fame is better than that. And maybe we'll bring an Assassin's Trophy, just to cover various eventualities. Yeah, Lightning Axe doesn't seem great, just in general. We bring Thoughtseize over Lightning Axe. At the very least we can then Thoughtseize ourselves, if necessary. Difficult to say, but yeah, I mean our opponent's deck doesn't seem to be a creature heavy deck, from what we've seen so far. This hand's pretty ugly. I think we want to mulligan that. This hand is okay. We obviously need to get to a second land. Let's keep this, and I guess we'll ditch Shenanigans. It's probably the least playable card here. Yeah, let's ditch Shenanigans. Keep this. Although I suppose that's their potential answer to hate cards, I guess. Maybe we should have put Claim to Fame back to the bottom. I went small to 3 cards. They've played a Leyline. Okay. Well, that is certainly something. We could find our land, which is nice. I guess given that they've played the Leyline, maybe we want to Neonate. Yeah. Let's get Blood Crypts and cast Neonate. Well, I guess we'll see how this game goes. I suppose we could have prepared for Leyline of the Void, but I mean, I have no idea what's going on over there. Talisman of Creativity. Interesting. Faithless Looting. An interesting one. I mean, I suppose we really want to dig to an answer for this Leyline, ideally. So maybe we should just looting first and then see where we get to. Yeah, I think we can go for that. So there's a Venge Vine and a Blood Crypt. Ditch Claim to Fame because it's unlikely to be helpful now at this point. I guess we ditch Venge Vine as well. It's a decent attacker, but the other utility cards seem better. We can still potentially get to a Hogaak situation. Although I suppose Hogaak's going to be particularly expensive. So maybe we just go for that sort of potential hardcast Venge Vine. I just like that the Hogaak can kill our opponent fairly swiftly. And obviously it's a good payoff to if we do get to the mill situation, but maybe we just ditch that. Try and keep low to the ground. So let's attack for 1. And I guess we play Stitches Supplier as well. Seems like a waste, but yeah. Let's see, I guess we weren't very prepared for Leyline. Snaring Bridge opponent has no cards in hand. We have quite a lot of time on our hands, so we can play the Wayfinder, find a land. guess we don't really want to be milling ourselves at this point. I'm gonna play the 2 taps and just pass the turn. Thing is, we've only really got 1 answer in the deck, I think, to ley line off the sideboard, because we didn't sideboard accordingly, I suppose. So I guess we'll see what our opponent's deck does, and whether they can just keep playing out all their cards. It'll also be good to see what our opponent's deck does to win the game, just in general. So that's a Felidar Guardian. And that is certainly a way to win the game. Interesting. Guess we'll go get our second Overgrown Tomb. Guess we'll spend the turn playing out Hogaak Vine. Yeah, things aren't looking great for us. We're kind of looking for 1 card, which is a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack. In the meantime, our opponent just needs to find Saheeli Rai, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what their deck is doing. There's no real reason to play Felidar Guardian otherwise. So there's a Hogaak. So I suppose if we keep playing creatures, we will eventually get to Hogaak mana, but I don't really want to be put in a position where I'm milling out our 1 answer to Leyline of the Void. And Leyline's not even like the only problem at this point, because Ensnaring Bridge is also crippling us. I don't see a good way of winning this game, just given the cards that we have. So we brought in Assassin's Trophy and we brought in Shenanigans. Shenanigans is still our deck somewhere, so that's a good answer to the Ensnaring Bridge, but we kind of need to find both those cards. So I guess we'll see if we get on. I mean, we don't necessarily need to get both of those cards, I guess. Shenanigans might be good enough in that we can just keep attacking, but obviously we're kind of racing against our opponent finding Saheeli Rai, or Saheeli Ray, however you say it. Yep. I mean, none of this seems particularly relevant, so it's ended up being a very unexciting game. Such a supplier doesn't seem to do anything. I guess we'll play this Polluted Delta. I don't know if we're being too risk averse here, but obviously milling our only answer to the cards that are on the table seems bad. Yes, there's a lot of Felidar Guardians on the battlefield now. I mean, at some point we can probably use this Neonate to draw a card. But, I mean, at the moment nothing's really happening. Opponent's playing a land. I don't know what the best way out of this situation is, other than just top decking our card that allows us to keep going. I suppose we should pop the Neonate at some point. I mean, double Hogaak isn't doing anything for us, I suppose. I don't want to use my land drops, but at the same time, I suppose Bloodghast is probably not going to be that relevant. Let's pass the turn, see what happens, and then I think we might pop this Neonate just to see if we can and pitch this Hogaak. Galvanic Blast on the Neonate. Okay, so they're going to push our hand on this one, but I don't think it's terribly relevant. So we found another Neonate. So we are potentially getting to a point where we're digging a bit deeper. Yeah, I guess if we're just looking to find a card, we need to just get our lands out of our deck. There's looting. Okay, so that might help. Let's lead with looting. None of those are particularly relevant. I guess we just pitch the Thug. Although we can cast the Thug without worrying about other things, so maybe we should just play it and see if we can get Hogaak on the board. So then if we do get to a point where we can destroy the ensnaring bridge, then we're in good shape. So yeah, maybe that makes sense. Maybe we keep the cards that we don't have to worry about milling ourselves with. So, Neonate, Carrion Feeder, Golgari Thug. Pass the turn. And is their top card Saheeli Rai? It is not. It is a Tornod's Crypt. I think at this point it doesn't actually matter. We just need shenanigans. Which unfortunately was in our opening hand. And we got rid of it. So, yeah, we're kind of paying the price for that. So it's not possible to attack. I guess we might as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we play the Stitches Supply, we can play out Hogaak. Is that right? 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we're very close to casting Hogaak. I don't know if we want to mill our only out. That's my main issue here. I think we'll leave it as is, but I think we are obviously at a terrible risk of just losing the game here at any point. But obviously our opponent's not drawing any cards or doing anything particularly exciting on the other side, so there is that. Faithless Looting, I guess we keep digging. There is shenanigans, so that changes things up a little bit. So yeah, I guess we can't really afford to wait too much longer. So if we shenanigans the ensnaring bridge, we attack. We potentially lose quite a lot of our creatures. We're not got great attacks, so maybe we just wait a little bit. I think pitch the lands because they're not going to be super relevant. Play out Stitches Supplier and keep back, and then cast the Hogaak, I guess. Seems like the best approach. So there's Hogaak. I'm going to pass the turn. I don't know. I mean, they could have some sort of Thoughtseize card, I guess. We'd have to top deck it immediately. And, I mean, there's always a chance that it's just Saheeli Rai, but that was always possible. There's another ley line, which I think is comparatively fine. So obviously have a pretty good attack here. So I mean, I guess we potentially lose quite a lot, but I think this is just the way it's got to be. So they haven't got any cards in hand. They do have a bunch of 1/4s that can block, but Carrion Feeder that can sack a load of stuff. So I think just let's go for it. Kill the ensnaring bridge and send everyone. suppose there is a risk that we might mill ourselves by killing a bunch of Stitch's suppliers, but I don't think that's too risky. Obviously we're going to make the Carrion Feeder live, because that's the big threat, realistically. Interesting that opponent's blocking there. So, yeah, one of their Felidar Guardians at least gets to live. I don't know if it's worth killing 2, it probably isn't. So, let's sack the Gravecrawler, make sure our Carrion Feeder lives, and then I think that we just leave it there. Yeah, get the damage in. Push as much damage as possible through. And I don't think there's anything else relevant we can do this turn. I mean, I suppose we could have sacked the Neonate, just to see if we can get another creature, or another like Vengevine or something. Okay, opponent didn't draw anything relevant, and we won. So yeah, interesting matchup against a bizarre brew, and yeah, we just got there because they didn't do anything for several turns, and in the end the ley line wasn't all that relevant compared to us just being able to destroy their one ensnaring bridge. Not sure what their deck is. It appears to be some sort of combination between Saheeli Rai combo and Whir Prison, I guess. Well, it doesn't really have the prison. I suppose we had an ensnaring bridge, and there is general artifact relationships going on, Mox Opal, Tormod's Crypt Talisman, but yeah, definitely a brew. Didn't seem particularly good, not against us anyway, but who knows. Yeah, I think the thing that really cost them was that they didn't have any sort of card advantage to follow up with, so they got the ensnaring bridge, they got the Guardians into play, but they didn't have any way to sort of inevitability to sort of draw themselves towards Saheeli Rai. But I suppose they did mull to like 3 at the start, so, and obviously if the cards had fallen their way they could have got the combo off, but yeah, it seems like a sort of bizarre combination of cards, and yeah, not being able to draw deeper to get into the combo seems like a problem. But yeah, there we go. I suppose match 1 was a success.